Jim Rohn was once asked, "How come you're up so early?" His response, "If you were headed where I'm headed, you'd be up early too." Purpose fuels action. When there's something you're genuinely looking forward to, waking up early becomes a choice, not a chore. Your morning routine is a system that you can show up for, and know that by showing up, you're taking steps closer and closer to being your best, most successful self. Routines don't look the same for everyone. I mean, mine's definitely changing with the seasons, and yours should feel right for you too. So hopefully these tips and habits to become a morning person will help you create the best morning routine for you. I've been waking up at 6 a.m. lately. After waking up, drinking some water, I head to the living room and turn on all the Christmas lights. It's so dark and cold on these mornings, so making sure that I'm prioritizing my mindset is so incredibly important. I definitely romanticize these mornings by making them extra cozy and magical with all of our decorations. I like to start with a 15-minute meditation while I'm not fully awake yet. This is the best time to meditate, even if it's just for 5 minutes. This is because the door to your subconscious is still open and your brainwaves haven't fully gotten into beta waves, which is whenever your brain is fully awake and conscious. So whenever you take the time to envision your goals and give yourself positive affirmations and just set your tone on a positive note for the day, it's that much more effective because your subconscious is so impressionable during this time. I'll link the meditation that I use daily, but I really love it because it's centered around my goals and truly embodying them. After meditation, I love to head into a quick journal session with my 5-minute journal. Gratitude is incredibly crucial when manifesting your goals and just overall keeping you in a high vibe. It's so easy to default to the negative things and just project your whole day, but by practicing gratitude, it keeps you in the present and just focused on the positive things in your life. Because honestly, no matter how bad things may seem, you have things to be grateful for, and it's so important to lean on the gratitude of those things, because then the universe will only give you more and more things to be grateful for. I love the 5-minute journal because it's quick, it's guided, and so simple for me to just show up, and it actually boosts my mentality. Not only does it elevate your mood, but it helps align your thoughts, your emotions, and actions with your goals. After getting myself in a really good headspace, I go ahead and make my bed so that I do not crawl back into it. And it also just lets my brain know that the day has started, and it makes me much more productive knowing that my space isn't all messy. Now it's time for some daily movement, which can honestly be a challenge in these colder months because I just don't want to get out of my pajamas. So I lay out my clothes in the bathroom every night so that they're super accessible the next morning. It makes it so much easier, and it's one less decision that I have to make. Setting yourself up for green lights like this will make your routine so much easier to go through on the harder days, because the only thing you have to do is show up. Green lights is a concept that I learned from Matthew McConaughey, and I can honestly say that it's a complete game changer for me. So if there's anything that you can do to make the habits you're trying to build that much easier, do it, because I promise you, your future self will thank you, and it will just make everything so much easier. It's a simple hack, but it's a game changer. So it was only 33 degrees outside this morning. Holy moly, it was so chilly. So I opted to do a HIIT workout by Sarah's Day on YouTube. I love doing at-home workouts, especially in the winter by the Christmas tree. I just feel like it's a way to, if you could ever make a workout cozy, this is the way you could do it. I love not having to worry about commuting to a gym, and I just get even more time to enjoy our Christmas lights just a little bit more. Plus, today I was not feeling like going out in the cold because sometimes I'll go for a walk or a run, but just not today, guys. It was just way too cold. So after my workout, this is whenever I go take a nice hot shower and just do some skincare. I love this part of my morning too because it's just more time to myself, I feel like, and I try to romanticize it because if not, I'll just end up getting frustrated with my makeup or my hair. And one of my favorite ways to really romanticize this is just putting on a podcast, something that is inspiring, something that's motivating. And today I chose Aggie Lau's podcast. She is a female biohacker and she's incredible. I love her book and she has amazing guests on her podcast. So that's who I chose today, but that's one thing you can do while you're getting dressed is listen to your favorite podcast, listen to an audiobook, listen to a motivational video, and it's going to keep your mindset in check because if I give myself any time to drift, I don't want that negativity to come in because I know that it will. It's been proven time and time again that you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. And it doesn't have to be physically spending time with someone or knowing someone. This also counts the people that you listen to, the videos that you watch. So just make sure you're very mindful and very selective on the information that you listen to and the people that you watch and how it affects your mood and mindset. But that's why I really try to surround myself mentally with the people that inspire me the most. Now that I feel like an actual human and I have given all of our kitties their breakfast, it's time for me to make our breakfast. So I used to be the type of girl who would immediately wake up and run to the coffee maker to brew my coffee. Until I learned how horrible that was for me, I would drink my coffee first thing and I would end up with the absolute worst crash. I would get the jitters, I would get super bad headaches, and I just would get incredibly lethargic, and getting through my to-do list was just not even a thing. And I would get really, really hungry and I would stuff my face just trying to raise my blood sugar back up because I'd crashed so badly. It just was a horrible, horrible thing for my body to do. And after doing a lot of research, I learned that it's really not good to have caffeine within the first 30 to 60 minutes of waking up. And if you do, and the really reason they say to stay away from it is because it spikes your glucose levels and it also spikes your cortisol levels. And we don't need either of those spiked. Our body does not like that. So I really make sure to prioritize a protein-rich, savory breakfast. And it's really important to have a savory breakfast instead of a sugary breakfast, even over a smoothie or anything like that that is relatively healthy. And that's because of your glucose spikes. Whenever you spike your glucose, it's going to really stress out your body. So making sure you have that protein first thing in the morning is going to keep you from crashing. So if you are a coffee lover like me, I promise this will make the biggest difference for you, because whenever I've started to eat my eggs or whatever savory breakfast I have before my coffee, I kid you not, I don't have a crash. I stay elevated energy levels all day long. I don't get super shaky. I don't feel like I need to cram a bunch of sugar in my mouth to get my blood sugar to come back up to a normal level so I can actually have energy again. It just stays level throughout the day and I feel so much more energized, I get so much more done, and I can just tell my body loves it. So that is why I want to eat before I even have my coffee. And I'm not gonna lie, it was quite the adjustment because I was so used to go into that immediately. It's almost like a treat now. So once I have my meditation done, my journaling done, I've done my mindset work for the day, I've moved my body and I've nourished it with really good food, then I can reward myself with some nice coffee time. And I treasure that time so much because it's just a few minutes to myself before I even give my energy to anything or anyone else for the rest of the day. Because if you don't take care of yourself, there's no way that you can take care of anybody else or give anyone any part of you, because you have to make sure you're showing up as the best and healthiest version of you. So that's just kind of a long explanation as to why I want to eat breakfast first. And today we're gonna have an omelet. I typically try to have our egg bites prepped, but we actually went through them this week, so I'm just gonna go ahead and make an omelet. I kind of prefer them some days. I think they're kind of fun to make anyway. I feel like a little chef. So we're gonna do that, and then we will have some coffee, and I'll show you exactly the book I'm reading and everything like that. But we're gonna go ahead and make some breakfast first because I am so hungry. So I've actually started using grass-fed butter instead of oil to cook in the pan or to saute anything. Gary Brecka actually talks about using grass-fed butter for that, and that's where I learned that from, and I do prefer to use it. I just get the Kerrygold Irish butter. This one's the salted version. I actually might get the unsalted after I finish this one up, but it's a great butter. It's a great grass-fed butter. It's good quality. And then for putting in the omelets, I actually get this pico de gallo from Trader Joe's, and it saves me so much time because I don't have to cut up all of the tomatoes, the peppers, and everything that I want to put in there. It's already all cut up for me, so it just saves a lot of time. Then I just do some spinach, and then I love shredded Mexican cheese. I just think it's really flavorful and really delicious. So that's just what I put in my omelets, and I usually get the pasture-raised organic eggs. I feel like they're just the best quality. Breakfast is all done and it looks so divine. So here is the omelet. I'm very impressed with my flipping skills. I love egg bites, but there's just nothing like a fresh omelet. And I normally would love to pair it with a sausage patty or like a Greek yogurt with some berries, but I'm actually out of both of those since tomorrow is our grocery shopping day. So I just did a little cup of blueberries, but I always make sure to eat the egg first. So if I do have a yogurt, I do not eat that first. I make sure to eat my egg or my omelet first to avoid the glucose spikes. And of course, my coffee. And I also prep our immunity shots for the week, especially in the winter time. So this one has orange, ginger, lemon, pineapple, and I make them with honey too. I always make sure to take this after I've eaten everything because, again, I just want to make sure I minimize those glucose spikes. So this is my breakfast, lots of protein, some fruit, and definitely some vitamins from the health shot as well. And of course, my beloved coffee, which I look forward to every single morning. So every morning while I eat breakfast and drink coffee, I love to read, and I'm a big book girly, and I love fiction books, but I've been trying really hard to just focus on reading nonfiction. And the reason I love to do this in the morning is because I've just noticed that the times in my life whenever I've been reading nonfiction daily, especially in the mornings, I have just had so much more progress in different aspects of my life. I've been in a better mindset. Excuse Freya, she is clawing her cat tree right now like crazy. She waits until I turn the camera on. But I just find that I'm in a better headspace when I read nonfiction. So the one I'm reading right now is Ask and It Is Given, which is by Esther and Jerry Hicks. So if you've ever heard of Abraham Hicks, that's basically the entity that they're channeling through this book, who talks about manifestation from the spiritual perspective, I guess you could say. I just love the way that they talk about it. And while I've learned a lot about manifestation, obviously how it works, it's honestly just the way it's broken down in this book, and how they talk about like us as spiritual beings is just really interesting. And I think it's a way to digest manifestation and understand it in a way better way. So if you haven't read this book, I really highly suggest you read it. Even if you feel like you totally understand manifestation, I think it's an amazing book. So I've been diving headfirst into that one recently, and I'm loving it. And I just treasure this time so much in the morning, because reading nonfiction is almost like another mental check-in for myself, because it can be so easy to just go into a dark tunnel with my thoughts and start thinking negative. But I try really hard to make sure I'm having these mental check-ins throughout the morning. So I start with gratitude and the meditation, which is going to set the tone for the morning and is there whenever the subconscious is more primed to get information like that. And then obviously listening to a podcast while getting dressed, instead of just thinking all these negative things and projecting my day, and just being present. And then just reading nonfiction while I eat breakfast and drink coffee. I just think that they're really good mental check-ins for me to have, and I know that when I do those at least 4 things I guess, it's just my mentality is so much better, my mood is better, I'm way more productive, and it's just, I notice things are a lot better. So that's why I do those things, and I promise if you integrate at least one of those in your routine, you will see a big difference in your mentality and just your mindset towards the day in general. Okay, now it's time to take the shot. So I love to prep immunity shots for us to have every morning, and I put honey, turmeric, ginger, oranges. This one has pineapple. I think that's it. I actually have the recipe on my Instagram. Oh, and black pepper, because turmeric and black pepper have to go together. But yeah, no, it's antioxidant, anti-inflammatory, and is full of vitamins to help our immune system during the cold weather, because I just feel like everyone gets sick a little bit more often in the cold weather. So I'm gonna go ahead and take it for the day. It's really good. The ginger does burn a little bit, but you really get used to it, honestly. It's literally so much cheaper to make those at home than it is to buy them like at Costco or even at the store. I can make a whole week's worth for both of us for like what 2 or 3 would cost at the store. I definitely take that, and I always make sure that I'm drinking water throughout the morning too. You're supposed to hit 1 gallon a day, but 3 Stanleys is pretty close. 4 Stanleys I think would be 1 gallon. So it's a lot of water. So I try to get somewhere within 3 to 4 every single day. But yeah, like I said, the immunity shot recipe is on my Instagram, but if you would like it in a video, just let me know. I'd be happy to share it, and I think it's just been really helpful, and again, saves so much money. Now it's time to make our to-do list for the day. So that's one thing that nonfiction really helps me do, is prime my mind to make my to-do list, because it puts me in a really productive, motivated mindset. So I used to be the person that would load up their to-do list. I would list every little thing I had to do that day, and literally 99.9% of the time, over half of those things didn't get done. Probably over 75% of those things did not get done. And it's just because you don't need that many things on your list. You need to pick at least 2 to 3 things that you can get done that day. And that's really what I try to do is I don't go over 3 things. Some days I only have 2, and some days there may just be one really big thing, and if I finish that one thing, then I can do something else. But you really don't want to overload your to-do list, because at least for me, I was finding that I was incredibly overwhelmed. I didn't know where to start, and I just was so exhausted knowing I had a whole entire list to do, and I just didn't enjoy my day, and I honestly didn't even feel like I was moving the needle forward. And there's just no sense in taking action in these things, or at least thinking you're taking action and not feeling the progress, because we can make ourselves feel busy but we're not actually being productive. So that's why I really dial in my to-do list for 2 to 3 things every single day, and I do what Tony Robbins says is I slay my dragons first. So I'd start my day with the task that's going to take the longest and most amount of energy. And this is really because coming off of my morning routine, I feel energized, I feel productive, and I feel motivated. So I use that energy to go ahead and accomplish the hardest thing on my list, so that that little sense of dopamine that I get from accomplishing that task carries on over into my other tasks, and I know that everything else I have to do that day is just going to get easier, and it gives you that sense of accomplishment and just gives you enough momentum to get through the rest of your day and accomplish those other to-dos on your list, and know that you're actually making progress and not burn yourself out. A huge hack that has made a world of a difference to me is I don't write anything on my to-do list without putting an amount of time next to it. So if I say I have to film a video that day, I'm going to say there's 3 hours dedicated to that. And then I need to make a thumbnail. That'll be another 2 hours. So I give myself an allotted amount of time for each task. And I do not use my phone as my timer. I have my own timer right here. It's off of Amazon in my Amazon storefront, and I can link it below. But it comes with different colors, but it's just a basic timer, and I am obsessed with it. It keeps me from doom scrolling on my phone, and it just keeps my phone away from me. So if I can give myself an allotted amount of time on my list, set my timer for that time, then I know that I'm being productive, I'm getting my list done, not burning myself out, and I know that whenever I set my timer, I'm much more urgent. There's a bigger sense of urgency knowing that I only have this amount of time to get it done, and I get things done quicker, which in turn gives me more time throughout the day. It just kind of makes you more conscious of your time and more self-aware of it, which I think is really crucial when you're trying to hit your goals. So again, I will link that timer in my description box if you're interested. The timer has really been such a game changer, and I pause it anytime I stop working on what I'm working on. So let's say I set my timer for an hour and I am writing a script for a video, and I'm writing the script and I get a phone call from somebody. I would pause the timer because I'm not actively working on that script. I'm working kind of somewhere else, or if I get a text from somebody and I need to answer, whatever I'm doing, if there's something that interrupts me during that task, I will pause the timer so that I know during those minutes when I was working on that thing directly, because we can set our timer for an hour, go and get distracted and be like, oh, well, I kind of worked on it for an hour. No, you didn't. You probably worked on it focused for maybe half of that time, and that's why it's not getting done. So it keeps you really, really conscious of how productive you're actually being, or if you're just being busy. So it's a really, really big hack that I've found and learned with my to-do list after getting burned so many times. But this is my realistic 6 a.m. winter morning routine. Social media can just make it feel like you really have to jam-pack your mornings with 1,000 different habits, and you totally don't. Your morning routine should really be curated around your specific lifestyle and your specific goals that you're reaching for, because if you just start doing things every single morning because you feel like society says you have to do them, and I'm not saying some of those things aren't good, it's just not realistic to do all of them every single day. You just have to pick what works for you, what works for the goals you're going for and your schedule and your lifestyle, And that's what you need to follow through with, and that way you don't burn yourself out and you actually move the ball forward. You'll see so much more progress that way instead of trying to fit into this mold that is just honestly falsely painted. And hopefully this showed you that if you do have a 9 to 5, or if you do go to school or any other obligations that you do have, you can still make that time for yourself in the mornings. You don't owe your life to a company or an employer. You deserve that time in the mornings to refuel and recharge and really get your mind right to take those steps towards your goals. I hope this video inspired you to maximize your morning routine so that you can show up as the best version of yourself and actually make the most of where you are right now. And if it did, make sure you hit the subscribe button down below and the thumbs up so that I do know that it was actually helpful and that you enjoyed it. So I do want to say thank you so much for being here and for watching, and I will catch you in the next video. Bye!